Fire Radio.
Are you looking for new forcible entry tools, seatbelt cutters, pouches, bags, screwdrivers, or even hose straps? Then head over to our friends at Modus Fire Rescue. They just might have what you're looking for. They are best known for their tool, the Snagger, but currently they have more than 25 products on their site, with more being added monthly. Also, while you're there, use code THESIZEUP, one word, to save 5% off your order. What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Size Up, National Fire Radio. This is another rendition of PipTalks. I just finished a workout, so I'm really sweaty and gross, and my hair is all messed up, and my mustache is not all fancy and pretty like it normally is if you're watching on YouTube, which, I doubt many people do. But also, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm rocking my Never Forgotten Game shirt. This is an awesome fitness event out in Redding, California. It's going on, I believe, in July, maybe August this year. It's right around those times, but it's a great event where they honor local fallen first responders with an awesome fitness event. I've been able to participate with them for a few years and got to go out there. So if you're in the Redding area, also in a great area to check out. So Never Forgotten Games, check them out. They are on Instagram as well as I think it's at Never Forgotten Games, kind of an easy thing. But I wanted to jump on right after my workout to talk about progress. And a lot of times it's in my workouts is where I get some of just my ideas. I feel like I get sort of lost in my head in my workouts sometimes, which I really like, especially the longer ones that I do, the ones that tend to go 30 minutes or beyond, or if I'm out for a run. I really just get lost in my own thoughts. And it's kind of an interesting dichotomy because my guest who's going to be on episode 22 of The Size Up, Omar from Iceland, in his Modus Fire video, he sort of says when he's in his workouts, he uses them to get out of his head and into his body more. And I really like that thought. And I think maybe I have to start trying to do that some more too, to get back into my body. And that's sort of goes along the topic that I want to talk about with progress, right? Like, am I making progress each and every day? And it's a really hard concept to think about. And I think about it a lot because I always feel like, for me, I'm not progressing in everything I do, whether it be fitness, whether it be this podcast, whether it be friendships, being a dad, being a husband, being a son, a brother, a fire captain, you name it. I feel like I'm never doing enough to get me to the next step. And to be honest with you guys, I don't even know what the next step is. I don't know what I'm progressing for. I always used to be better than yesterday. And I really like that thought. Like, I'm always trying to be better than I was the day before. But sometimes I'm trying and don't even notice it. Or I feel like the very little successes that I may have aren't enough, or I'm not seeing those successes for what they are. And it makes it really, really hard. It makes it hard on me mentally, physically, emotionally. I guess emotionally is the biggest one because that's the concept of all this, right? So how do we get around that? And I'm trying to figure that out myself. Hopefully, if you guys are listening, you may have some ideas about how you do it. I know it definitely helps that I have some amazing friends, co-workers, family members that know me well enough to know if I'm starting to go down a trend of, hey, dude, you need to not be so hard on yourself about this because it's not so bad. But those friends, those great friends, they've come through the years and over the years, and that's a big part of it. And I think I get that feedback from them because I've shared my feelings with them, right? And that's something that goes along with all this progress nonsense as well, is that we have to share our highs and share our lows with the people who we love and who love and care about us the most. Because if they don't know what's going on, they can't always see it. And I'm pointing to myself in the video, but if you're listening, can't always see it by your face, right? We never know what's going on in others' heads and what type of mental space they may be in unless they tell us. Now, what I've sort of learned, and again, I'm still learning, no one knows it all. I had such a great conversation with Omar this week, and I can't wait for everybody to listen to it because he talks a lot about he's really well read, way better well read than I am, let's say. So he drops a whole bunch of authors and books in there. But we talked about that sharing end of it. And I've really started to learn that when I share things about me with my close friends, they share things about themselves and vice versa, because you never really know, what kind of advice your friend may give you. You don't know everything about me. I don't share everything about me on this podcast or on these pip talks. I feel like I share a lot, maybe sometimes too much. Maybe you don't want to hear that, but that sharing end of how this goes, that makes me better. And I'm so fortunate to have these folks, and I'm still looking for more people to share with. Right? It's kind of like it's like kindergarten type theory, right? Like you walk in and you don't know anybody, I guess, and you're like the kids are looking around, but then they kind of start sharing, and kindergartners aren't sharing necessarily their deep seated emotions, but they're sharing the things that are the most important to them, right? They're sharing their toys, they're sharing their snacks. If anyone has children or has hung out with someone around that kindergarten younger age, if you could get a small child to share one fruit snack with you out of the pack. In the pack, what there's like 8, 10 if you're lucky, unless you get that jumbo pack, which is my favorite. But if you can get a little kid to share just one of those fruit snacks with you, that is huge. And those are the types of things that now, as adults, we need to keep doing. We need to go back to that kindergartenness. We need to go back to that progression because you see it in them. I see the progression in my boys every week. I feel like every day, like how they're becoming better people, they're growing up. I'm still doing that myself. I don't always necessarily see it in myself. I don't always necessarily see it in Mrs. Pip. She doesn't always necessarily see it in me unless we're sharing how we feel about this. And I think it's amazing, how when you watch kids progress in things, whether it be sports, school, their relationships with people. I mean, hell, their relationship with you. I mean, my boys are awesome, and I can't wait to get them on a pip talk. Finn is really getting up on me about not having him. So school ends, so we're gonna have more time to do that. But we aren't the same buddies we were when he was 10, when he was 7, when he was 5. He's 13 now. Dad isn't the coolest guy in the house, maybe all the time. Even like even when I'm thinking about like growth and things, but like even as you get older, the disciplining you do with your kids, when you were little, they'd get mad and they'd cry for 5 minutes and they'd move on. Well, now when I say you can't do this, or bro, you really messed this one up, that sticks with him longer. And I have to go in after to check in on him to kind of, I don't want to say repair maybe any damage that I did in that discipline, but confirm with him that he understood why that had to happen. And I'm really trying to what? I'm trying to get him to progress to be a better person. I'm trying to get him to share with me, dad, how he's feeling. And it's something that as adults, and especially adult males, I think we could all do a better job at. Omar and I talk about that. Sadly, it's more towards the end of the episode 22 there, but we get into it a bit. And it's something that I think I want to explore even more when I think about the podcast, when I think about these pip talks, is trying to get people to just share more to help them progress. And again, it's crazy how I think like I had this idea about talking about progressing as a person, and it really switched back into doing more sharing, being more open, and making these internal size ups about yourself, whether you're succeeding, whether you're failing, or whether you're just towing the line. And I really think it's something that I have to keep thinking more about. And I plan on thinking more about. If you have any types of ideas about this topic, if you want to come on the podcast and talk about this topic, if you want to come on a pip talk and talk about this topic or any topic, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. It's oh my gosh, how could I forget my own one? The_size_up on Instagram. So I forget my own thing. Make sure to give us a follow. I want to thank our monthly sponsor again too, Modus Fire Rescue, monthly sponsor for the June of for the month of June for the podcast. And again, for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, this has been Pip with another Pip Talk.